Oh, good morning. Morning, Ed. Morning, Mike. Morning, Terry. Oh, I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Allergies are killing me this morning. I almost overslept. Almost slept right through. Morning, Vince. We're just gonna hang out and chat today. I'll mess around a little bit in Blender and we'll have a let's just hang out and chat stream and talk about some upcoming projects and upcoming projects that are being made possible because of something I've been working on for a very long time and finally succeeded. Yeah, my son's still asleep. Morning, Kathy O'Malley. After midnight, hanging out. It's late there. Don, good morning. D. Hope everybody is doing super this morning. It's sunny right now, but we got some storms on the way today. They were talking about last night. We're gonna get hit hard today. Yeah, it's it's sunny, but it's very very windy. Like windy enough that it keeps pushing the doggy door open. Which thankfully it's like unseasonably warm here as well. Like I think I could go outside in a t-shirt right now and not be cold. So yeah, we're getting ready to get hammered by some storms today, and the wind is blowing them in. So the the big thing that I finally accomplished, and those that have been following the channel and stuff know I've been working on trying to successfully do this for a long time. We have tank treads that are fully 3D printed, no additional hardware needed. They're solid. I'm pulling right now. They're not pulling apart. They're solid, but they articulate very very well. So that's going to open up a whole world of toys for me. And thing I haven't been able to figure out yet. So now the next challenge for me is sizing the drive gear just right. I've printed out a couple of tests. Morning, Mike. I printed out a couple test gears and one gear was too small, one gear was too big. I'm like, okay, so I gotta meet them somewhere in the middle. And it's tricky trying to match that up exact. I don't know what there's probably a process to it that I'm overlooking and not thinking about. Morning, Jake slash Matt. But yeah, we have tank treads, and it's fun just playing with them. I was also thinking I could print enough of these and put like some sort of clasp on the end and make bracelets out of them. Tank tread bracelets. Because they go that nice. Yeah, the background is still very very festive. I haven't taken the time to take down the Christmas decorations yet. Oh. Yeah, I ended up with this little tree here because a few years ago my wife had bought one to take into her office where she worked at the time, and have on her table, and she didn't want to take it this year, so I was like, I'll put it in the makerspace. It'll make a nice backdrop for the videos during the holiday season. And so, yeah, as you can see, there's the chain part in the middle that the drive gear will interface with as soon as I figure out the dimensions of the drive gear. I was thinking this morning that maybe I need to take my calipers and measure the distance between each chain, and maybe that will help me. The camera is a cheapy Logitech C615. I think I paid $27 for it. Or, no, 30 something. Anyway, wasn't much. It's a cheap camera. That's why when you hear people make the argument that that they can't stream because they can't afford it, I'm like, well, if you can't afford $30, you probably can't afford to buy filament, and so that would probably be a bigger bottleneck than affording to stream. Well, right now the weird part is I don't even have the lights on in my makerspace, so the overhead light is off. The room is pretty dark, and it's coming across much brighter on camera. So it does good in low light situations too. Right. So that's what I was thinking today. Was I woke up thinking about, well, as soon as I woke up and I went, oh crap, I gotta throw some clothes on and go start the stream. Is I need to measure the distance between from the center of one pin to the next. Is 9.05 millimeters from the center of one pin to the next. So that gets me pretty much centered up as well. So call it 9 millimeters. I may have to adjust slightly. Yeah, clothing is not optional for streaming. So yeah, it's 9 millimeters from gap to gap, 9.05-ish. So I think maybe that if I can take some measurements off of the drive gear, I'll be able to calculate that somehow. And get the sizes right, because the last time I tried it was too big. I'd like the wheels to be similar in size to the wheels on the Jeeps and stuff. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all, Mike. I don't want to go looking for those streams. I haven't really played with Tinkercad. I have to use that. But I need to wrap it all the way around. Let's see, let's go to screen share. Let me get my chat pulled back up where I can see it. Because I was trying to more or less eyeball it. Sorry, got allergies killing me right now. Because I eyeball just about everything, and it usually works out. But this time it's not. So let's take a measurement between those 2 points. Segment, show. Oh, I've got to get the units to millimeters. Let's scale it down. Since there's going to be a little bit of extra needed in travel, let's stop there for right now. Morning, Walter. Sorry I missed your country club stream last night, man. I was me and the family went to it's called the River Walk. It's a park here in Clarksville, and they had it all lit up and decorated, and we'd wanted to do it before they turned the lights off. So yeah, Joey was peeing on everything. And he was the center of attention everywhere we went. People was like, "Oh, the puppy." There saw plenty of other dogs there, but he was getting the lion's share of the attention, that's for sure. Scale this along the X. The nice thing about testing these wheels right now, I'm glad you stopped in, man. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful holiday season, an awesome Christmas. Hope you spent some time with the family. We have functional tank treads. Fully 3D printed. No additional hardware required. Now we're just trying to size the drive gear. The cool thing about doing the drive gear the way I am right now is that I can print it out in like 10 minutes. It's not a long print. It takes almost as long to warm the printer up to print it as it does to print it. So save, export STL. Drive gear 3. Export. You know, they probably could. The clearances are there. I mean, cleaning up the supports would be fun. You probably have to print them on their side. All right, so we exported that already. Go here to Kira. I had a wonderful Christmas, Joe. Hope you did as well. My son got almost everything he asked for. The big thing being his new computer. He's got a better computer than I do now. He got a laptop with a Ryzen 5 in it. Yeah, I got my son a laptop, a Ryzen 5, the 2500U processor, the Vega 8 graphics. It's a nice machine. And then he got some games for his Switch. He got the Mega Man X Legacy Collection, Mega Man 11, and the Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Yeah, that's the way it goes, man. Kids, they play more with the boxes than they do the toys, especially when they're little. And you're like, I could have just went to Home Depot and bought a bunch of boxes. No, I didn't get anything for Christmas. I just, Christmas is for the kids. So what money we had, we spent on the kids. I did buy my wife, and this is gonna sound awful, but she asked for it. I did buy my wife, and she hasn't used it yet. So I guess part of the gift was me using it. Was the Bissell Crosswave. We have hardwood floors, and cleaning those hardwood floors is a massive chore. We had dust mops and brooms and mops, and it took a combination of going over it multiple times with all those things to clean the floor. And I mean, cleaning the floor was a 2-3 hour job, and even then it wouldn't come out looking as good as we wanted it to. The only way you get it come out looking as good as you want it to is to get down on your hands and knees and scrub it. And so bought her a Bissell Crosswave, and for me to use and clean the floor. But she had asked for it. She wanted it, so I did get her that, even though we said we weren't going to get each other anything. Alright, so let's get the SD card from the... Let's put this on the X1. The SD card from X1. See if I can find my... Oh, there it is. USB adapter. Oh, I think that was part of the plan, Joe. I think it was part of the plan all along was I'm going to have him get me this, and then he can clean the floors for me. So she hasn't used it yet, and I've cleaned the floors a couple times with it. We had a bunch of guests come over for Christmas dinner, Christmas Day. A bunch of musician friends that didn't have anybody to spend the holidays with. D bought his wife some aluminum extrusions and printer parts. $23. Morning, Ben. So let's see here. Save that to the removable drive. 6 minutes to print. Eject. See, while I work on this, it doesn't take much filament and it doesn't take much time. And I'll eventually get it dialed in. I may need to recreate a gear with more teeth and a larger diameter. But I will get it because, you know, some of you guys got to see how long it took me to get the tank treads to work. So I don't give up on stuff easy. Alright, we're going to let the X1 do this. And it might be nice. There's my scraper. Let me turn the lights on. Might be nice if I cleaned off the build plate there first. Morning, Brian. You missed Walter. He stopped in earlier. I'm sure he's back working by now. I keep looking over my shoulder until the X1 gets close to temperature, because it the hot end fan blows a little bit on the nozzle, and so it won't ever get up to printing temperature. It'll be like half a degree shy of printing temperature, and it'll just stay there and it won't start the print. So when it gets close, I got to put my finger on the fan for a second. No, the Tornado is still not functioning, and neither is the Ender 2. I haven't bought a new board for the Ender 2 yet. And the Tornado, turns out I really suck at using a multimeter. So I need to take the power supply clear out of the box, because I can't get my hands in there to. And they don't make that easy, because in order to do that, when you do that, you gotta unthread all the cables and stuff that run through the little hole in the back of the box. And so I'll get to it. It hasn't been that urgent, because right now, as you can see, I'm not keeping all my printers busy at the moment. I'm kind of in between printing on projects right now. I'm at a design portion of projects and not a printing portion. So it hasn't been that urgent. I got a bunch of projects that are in the design portion of work right now, but get off there. Close. Alright, so the X1 is going to print out another drive gear test. Like I said, I may need to... Alright, well the drive gears have an outer diameter of 24.54 right now. The outer diameter of the wheel part of the gear itself currently has a diameter of 20.24. But this will be a quick and easy print. Won't take much plastic or much time. And we'll see. This is my first tread design, which I didn't delete it yet. You see there. And it just never worked out. So I went scouring the web for RC tanks and found some pictures of the tank tread they were using and just kind of reverse engineered it from the picture. And instead of using pins that had to be inserted through each one of these spots, I designed it to just have a printed on pin that you just snap together. And I've been doing this with these since I printed them, like bending them and flexing them and pulling on them, and they're not coming apart. I mean, if I want them apart, I can get them apart, but I don't think, being a toy, it's going to have any more force on it than what I've been putting on it, and they hold together just fine. We're already 27% done printing. So that's the beauty of the drive gear being a small, thin part. Takes me as long to warm up the printer as it does to print the gear. I still love my little X1. I know a lot of people give the Tronxy X1 a lot of crap, but when I need something quick and small printed, it's my go-to machine. Although the Ender 2 was becoming my go-to machine until the board burned up in it. And it was becoming my go-to machine because its print quality was just a little bit better than the X1. I mean, don't get me wrong, the X1 doesn't print bad. It just... Printed a bedsheet on your Ender 3 last night? What's that in U.S. dollars, Ben? I've been going back and trying to finish up some low-hanging fruit, as it were. And I had this tank that I had done a lot of work on, but it was dead in the water because I couldn't print treads. And now I've designed a tread that works well, very well, like unbelievably well. $252. That's not bad. Because you know, as far as the quality of the prints and whatnot, I haven't noticed a lot of difference in watching people's videos between the Ender 3 and the Ender 3 Pro. But the Meanwell power supply is kind of a big deal. Morning, Ryan. And we are already at 74%. I gotta see where I left my needle nose pliers. I think I left them in by my bed, because I think that's where I was cleaning the supports off the last bit of tread last night. I'll be right back. My first two drive gears. This one was too small and this one was too big. Hopefully this one is somewhere in the middle. I didn't compare it. I mean, it's almost there. Almost. I can roll it along inside the chain. And it's close. There we go. Fresh finished. Turn the power strip off so I have to listen to the fans on the A8. Because I've got the X1 and the A8 on the same power strip. Flex the little plate a little bit. Pop it right off. Clean up supports. Because the underside of the gear is tapered a little bit. Need to go back and re-level the X1 because my first layer is a little too close right now. I think this one's even smaller, but maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Find out here in a minute. Actually, I think that's going to fit. It looks like that fits perfect. So I'll have to make another larger gear with more teeth to get the diameter I want. But now I know how to do it. Get the measurements on the teeth. Because it's wrapping around there and falling into place on the chain perfectly. But maybe time I put the bogey wheels and stuff in there. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. Robbie, what's going on, man? Yeah, I downloaded. Yeah, you don't need the one with drivers, just the. I downloaded Slicer Prusa Edition on one of the streams. The last Tutorial Tuesday stream I did, where I did multi-material printing or multi-material modeling. Cool. All right, we have a drive gear. So if I want to increase the diameter, I need to make a new one, but I'll use the same process of measurement that I did here and just have one with more teeth. Good night, Kathy. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it very much. Ryan, that's funny, man. Matt from Jake from State Farm. All right, cool. So I can start moving forward again with the tank design, and I'm going to do the undercarriage and wheels and stuff totally different than what I had here, because it was originally set up to work with that first tread design that didn't work. User formerly known as Jake from State Farm. Not Jake from State Farm. Oh. Yeah, except if you change to M3D, everyone will think you're associated with the printer company that does some shady practices. You know, the people that's stiffing everybody on the quad crane printer thing right now, and really got a lot of people fired up. You wouldn't want to think anyone to think you're associated with that mess, because it is a mess. Right, Brian? That's what I was thinking. Because then all the solid stuff settles to the bottom and burns to the bottom of the pan. It's not that I don't like the Ender 3. I think the Ender 3 is a fine machine. I just don't see myself in the market for one. I think the only printer that I would be in the market for in that build volume at this point would be a Prusa. And that's for the ability to add the MMU. So what does everybody think now that some people have been making some palette videos and some MMU videos and stuff? Where does everybody stand on which one is winning the multi-material competition? Yeah, you know, I've got some mixed feelings on the palette. I think I think ultimately it's going to get there. But one thing that makes me a little nervous is it looks like they're going to at some point start charging a subscription service for something involved with it. Yes. The simple answer to that, Brian, yes. Yeah, no, the palette is faster, but I've noticed that Chris Riley's been posting some of his prints from the palette, and while they came out multicolor, they didn't come out with a very good surface finish. And so, if that's something that still needs to be dialed in on the palette, if Chris Riley can't get it to print nice, what hope do I have? But then I see he changed his channel name. There's Napier Photography. He changed it to NP3D. Um, I see his videos, and his prints come out looking decent, and the setup looked easy. And so, I mean, it could be a case by case basis too. But yeah, the prints that Chris Riley's been getting off the palette don't look very good. They're multicolor. Ben, you weren't subbed to Brian already? What's this world coming to? Yeah, Chris is a genius like that, using one Raspberry Pi on multiple printers. Right, and the MMU is not tolerant of lesser quality filaments, and that's because the style of Bowden tube they use. Right, it's similar to that of like it's not Capricorn tubing; it's Prussia's version of Capricorn tubing. Oh no, I've seen the MMU deliver some poor prints for people as well, and like where one color just it decided not to print that one color very well, and that was even Chris Riley's experience with it when he printed his first the first little Joseph Prussia minifigure that he printed. The word Prussia on its chest that he printed in orange didn't come out right. Um, and then the MMU2, it takes longer because you have to pull the filament out and then push a different filament in. And I think there's a little bit of a delay between um, reheating and things like that between each one of those swaps, as well as the retracting and the reinserting the other color. So I I think the palette has it beat there. The palette is only 4 colors, so the MMU2 wins that war with 5 colors. The palette 2 can be put on any machine versus the MMU2 is Prusa only. So it also becomes an issue of if you own a Prusa Mark III already, get the MMU2. If you don't, I don't know if the cost of buying a Mark III and an MMU2 would be worth going with over the just buying a palette. Didn't you lose a bunch in the purge there, Don? I lost 7, which is a significant amount when you only have 160 something. Because I thought you were like at 4,000 at one point. I lost 7, but I had gained like 5 the night before they did the purge, stopping into somebody's live stream, and I don't know how much of that was the purge and how much of that was I had stopped into the live stream and those people subbed while I was there to get me to sub to them, and then unsubbed immediately after. Gotta move the camera so I can show this to you guys. This is cool. Me come over here. Webcam close up. See if I can set this somewhere here. There we go. Haha. Okay. Had to do it. Subs with meat and cheese. Meat and cheese. Yeah, that's Brian. That's I had stopped into one of his streams, and all I did was say hello, and like a whole bunch of people subbed, and I checked out their channels, and if they were anything at all that I was remotely interested in, I went ahead and subbed them back. But I'm like, I'm not gonna just fill up my subs with somebody's cooking shows and things like that. So maybe when I didn't hit them right back up, they unsubbed after. I don't know, but yeah, it's an interesting approach. I don't think it's I don't think it's conducive to long-term subscribers. Doing it that way, because again, you're running into content that you have no interest in viewing. So yeah, you may gain some subs, but but I didn't want to load down my subs with content that I'll never watch. So I subbed to a couple of them that did. There was a couple of them that did gaming and things like that, and I enjoy looking at gaming content once in a while. So I subbed. I didn't ring the bell, but I subbed, and like I didn't sub to the lady with the cooking show and that subbed to me, and I'm like, so I probably lost those. So, and that was the same time as the purge. So I don't know if the 7 I lost was from the purge or if some of it was from that, because I didn't sub them back. Alright, so now we need bogey wheels. And maybe some suspension on the bogey wheels. Since I can do functional suspension now. And one of the drive gears is going to have to be a tension, be on a tensioner of some kind to add tension to the treads, or at least manually slide it out and tension the treads before gluing. I tried a leaf spring style suspension, and the leaf springs kept breaking. They wouldn't take repeated compression. I think if I were to print them in a harder flexible, like maybe Ninja Flex Cheetah, I think they would work. But as far as printing in PLA, no, they will not work. Because I did probably 10 different designs of leaf spring, and every one of them, even the one that functioned the best, broke after a couple hundred compressions. So yeah, I would get a couple hundred compressions out of it, and then it would snap at one end or the other. Usually it would snap near the mounting point. So one version I beefed up where the mounting point was significantly, and then it snapped. That one snapped even quicker, and it snapped in the middle of the spring. But I think, maybe at some point I'll order some Ninja Flex Cheetah, because that's the stuff that's flexible but hard. And try again. But then again, that's also not exactly the direction I want to go with my designs, where you have to have a specialized filament in order to print it. Because Ninja Flex Cheetah is not cheap either, if I recall. Let's see how much Ninja Flex Cheetah costs. See, we're getting squirreled off now. Squirrel. Chasing squirrels. Chasing squirrels, and this isn't even a JTOG stream. Ninja Flex Cheetah. Yeah, so it looks like it's $55. That's a 3mm for a half a kilo. That's $110 a kilo. Holy crud. It's $110 a kilo. So maybe I won't order some of that and try it. Are you out of here, Ben? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Wow. Ninja Tech Cheetah Midnight Black, $55. Wow. For a half a kilo. Hey, Chris. Yeah, Ninja Flex Cheetah is expensive. We were just talking about what I could maybe try printing leaf springs in. Now, if I only used it for printing leaf springs, it would last a while because leaf springs are small. So that really brings into focus the. I wonder if he had a sponsor for it. That James Bruton guy that he did an entire Batman cosplay, like armor, head to toe, in Ninja Flex Cheetah. Most of it was in Ninja Flex Cheetah. So I'm like, $110 a kilo. That Batman costume cost him like probably $1,000. Yeah, Chris is gonna be at 10K in the blink of an eye. So yeah, Chris, you missed it. I have tank tread, and now I have a drive gear, which if I get it on there. Fully 3D printed, no additional hardware. Tough, resists being pulled apart, but it can be taken apart if you torque on it just right. Yeah, give it a little effort. But yeah, fully 3D printed. Everything locks together. Nice. Articulates well. A printer belt, huh? A Snappy printer belt. Because it's fully 3D printed. The Snappy belt. You have to scale that up a little bit for the Snappy belt. Otherwise, you'd have a very, very small print area. But yeah, I guess you could wrap wrap some Kapton tape around it or something and the Snappy belt. Now that would turn some heads. It wouldn't matter what your benchies look like if you managed to get that to function. It would still have thousands of people flocking to see a fully printed belt printer. Every time a Snappy is built, a benchy loses its wings. You know, I think Chris is getting some pretty good looking prints out of the Snappy for what the Snappy is. For having 3D printed lead screws and everything being fully 3D printed, I think Chris has got some decent prints out of it. Yeah, Brian. Someone must have built a Snappy last night. That's why that happened to your benchy. So yeah, Ninja Tech Cheetah is not cheap. $55 for a half a kilo. Yikes. Well, I imagine if you contact the manufacturers of the filaments that you want, they'll send you samples. Although I don't know if Ninja Tech would send you samples since they want $55 for a half kilo of their filament. They're like, sending you a sample, that'd be, I'm sending you $10 worth of filament. Ouch. I pinched my finger on the tread. A 500 by 500 by 800 hypercube. Good Lord. That's huge. Later, Don. It's nowhere in my budget, nor will it probably ever be. But I would love, after seeing the videos on the Railcore, I would love a Railcore, the 300 ZLT version, the 600 millimeter tall version. But I don't imagine myself ever dropping $1,600 on a printer. 1,600 plus, because that's for the 300ZL version, and I imagine the ZLT will be more, since it's twice the build height. But Joel's video of it, man, it sure looks like a nice machine. And then the other machine that intrigues me, and I know they've had some sketchy moments in the past, is the Folger Tech Ft6. Because what the base kit for it is like $800, and it's huge. It's huge. How big is it? I forget. Okay, is their TPU pretty? It's flexible but tough. Yeah, the FT6 is 720 by 350 by 400 build volume. 720 by 350 by 400. And if you get it with no extruder and no LCD, it's $700. If you get it with the 7-inch touchscreen and the direct drive extruder, it's $810. It's a monster. A 550 by 550 by 750 CR10 clone, that thing's monstrous. It's huge. We would not recommend leaving your printer running unattended. We cannot be held responsible for loss, damage, threat, hurt, or other negligent result from either building or using the printer. Guess you have to have that in there to say, not our fault. Oh, Folger Tech has a Delta, huh? I don't think I'd ever seen that. It's build volume on their Delta. It's 210. What's the height? They don't tell you what the build volume is on the printer. Why would you sell a printer and not tell people what the build volume is? Although I see the extrusions are 700 millimeters long, so that means the build volume's probably what? A little over half that on a Delta, because those effector arms can only go up so high. Anyway, something to think about. Back to the tank. So that worked. Now I know how to. Yeah, probably 300 to 350 ish. Not interested. I'm gonna place a Melzi board. Use MKS 1.4 or Ramps 1.4 hat for Arduino Mega. Well, the curiosity there is the curiosity there would be with even Marlin starting to go 32-bit. How long before we just don't see any new printers coming out with anything but 32-bit boards? Like the what is it, the rearm? And the Duet, of course, and the Lurge. Although somebody out there will still use the older technology, I'm sure. I mean, look at Tronxy, and they made that X5S 500, the 500 by 500 by 600 build volume Tronxy X5S. And even with almost everybody going 24 volt now, they're still 12 volt with a 12 volt heated bed at 500 by 500. Think it'll still be years for it's 32-bit only? Well, you know, because the curious thing about that is when new technology comes out, sometimes it's quick to be adapted, and sometimes it slowly trickles its way in. So I was curious what you thought, what your thoughts were on that, whether we would see it, you know, the 3D industry, 3D printing industry boom towards 32-bit. Since, I mean, I know a lot of printers now that previously would not have had 32-bit if they have been built a couple years ago, are 32-bit, like the AlphaWise U20 is a 32-bit. Because it's got the 32-bit ARM processor in it and a touchscreen. And more printers are moving towards touchscreens and things, so I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it'll be worth watching how it develops, how it all shakes out. Right, yeah. I think the bottleneck there for a while will be the difference in price between the 32-bit boards and the 8-bit boards. If you have a printer that's shooting for, buy this printer for $200, they're going to probably keep feeding us the 8-bit boards as much as possible. But if you have a printer that wants to say, look at all the snazzy things this printer can do, look at the touch screen and the auto bed leveling and the filament runout detection and the power off resume and the micro stepping and all that, then we're going to see more 32-bit boards. Because with a 32-bit board, you don't have to choose between I want this feature or this feature. You can say I want all the features. Yeah, I guess I've just never seen your CR10 clone, D. Your monstrous printer. But yeah, I think as we see more and more printers trying to be feature rich rather than bottom of the cheapest printer on the market kind of thing. Um, I think we'll see more and more 32-bit boards. Yeah, I could see that. Like you talking like Duet does with the Duet Wi-Fi and the Duet Duex 5 board, daughter board, that kind of thing. Yeah, I tell you when Joel was reviewing the Railcore and they took the back off of that printer to show the Duet and the Duex 5 and the MOSFETs and the power supply all laid out in that box the way it was. That was a work of art. That was beautiful. I was like that right there. That could be hanging in an art museum. That's a thing of beauty. Way more professional done than what we see most of the printers um, being reviewed out there. So again, as I think is a big leg up for like the Railcore, because the Railcore is worth the money. I believe, I do. It's just more money than I would probably ever spend on a printer, but I think it's worth it, especially since it's going to be compatible with the E3D tool changer. Well, but he said it wasn't even. He said it wasn't even necessarily having to be all that skilled with the cable management. That because the cables are all pre-made and pre-cut to length for you, that's just kind of how you have to route them. I don't know. Since you said you could print faster with the Mosquito because of not having as much retraction, and the Mosquito is an option on the Railcore, I would love to see how fast a Railcore could be cranked up with the Mosquito on it. Reliably. Because I bet that thing will haul rear end. It'll haul booty. Now, putting an MMU2 on a printer other than a Prusa, would that require that printer to be running off of the INZ board? Since Chris is a technical guru and owns an MMU2, he would probably have the answer to this question. Because I know it's been said that it would be possible. But I'm sure you would also be in the process voiding any kind of warranty. Shane's like, "You on your own." Well, I guess it wouldn't be that hard to clone since it's open source. Just a matter of getting firmware to work with it. I mean, the actual machine itself, you just need to buy the necessary hardware and print the rest. Later, man. Thanks for stopping in. I'm sure Prussia loves that. You can get the kits for on AliExpress already. Oh, I'm sure, Ryan. Absolutely. Hmm. Yeah, Chris, if you were the first one to hack an MMU2 and make it work for any printer. The world would be the path to your door, except for the Prusa folks. They might beat you about the head and shoulders. Johnny Mac, what's going on, man? How are you today, my friend? I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. Uh-oh. Why is it blue wheeling me there? Okay, scared me. No customer calls at all. Cool. Hmm. I think that layout will work for the bogie wheels and the drive gears. Now I just got to finish modeling the bogie wheels and the drive gears. What do you guys think? And then I just need to make probably the rear wheel, this one back here, a tensioner, so that you pull it to tension the tread. Pull it out this way before you glue it in place. Oh yeah, John. I guess you didn't get to see that, did you? Wait. Webcam close up. Which, rolling it on my hand is not working as well as rolling it on a... So, yeah, functional tank tread. It's all printed. There's no additional hardware. And assembly is just snapping the pieces together. And it's holds solid. Pull on it. There's... Yeah, much like a cable chain. Without any kind of pass-through in the middle. But it works well. Assembly is a step, absolutely. So yeah, I've never designed anything like this before. So there's some trial and error going to be involved. I may have to do some different sizes with the bogie wheels and stuff. I was just trying to lay it out initially right now. And I may go look at some tank blueprints and try to figure some stuff out. It's back to work for me tonight. I haven't had a show since last Saturday. That's rolling across there so smooth. Yeah, there's the Snappy getting brought up again. But yeah, having the ability to do this now is going to open up all sorts of stuff. Like I thought about a half-track version of the VSV. And now that I can do this, that's a possibility. A snowmobile might be fun, a fun little thing to design too. A G.I. Joe scaled snowmobile. Just have to narrow the treads out a little bit. but I think I could even use the same size of the actual internal chain and drive gear. Well, see, they have a snowmobile, the Polar Bear, I think is what they called it. It's been a while. I didn't have one. Didn't have one of those when I was a kid. But it, of course, used what most G.I. Joe toys and other toys with tank treads use, and that was just treads that were injection molded to look like treads with little rolly wheels on the bottom. And I was this close to making my tanks do that as well before I finally cracked the code on the tread and made it work. John, what's going on, my friend? You back to work after the holidays? I know you already saw this on Twitter yesterday, John, but tank treads. It's different when you can see them, like actually see them moving. And we got a today on the stream. We got a functional. If I can get it lined up here. A functional drive gear. Yeah, me too. I got back to work tonight. Got a show tonight, 2 shows tomorrow. Show on Saturday, show on Sunday, and then Monday is New Year's Eve. I have a show then as well. Thanks, man. The tread thing has been a long time coming. So having them functioning now is so exciting. Means I can finally sit down and finish this tank. I can make a half-track version of the VSV. Do all sorts of cool stuff. I try with every passing design to tackle a new feature that I can use repeatedly throughout toys. Now, the thing that's kind of spooking me about it, though, is all I'm doing is setting myself up for my toy designs have to get more and more complex. You know, to bring it and use features that have been used throughout the multiple designs with each new design. So I've done functional suspension. Now I've got functional tank treads. Maybe I'm going to have to apply some functional suspension to the tank treads. I don't know yet. Or I'm going to at the very least, maybe apply some of that to a tensioner for the tank treads, so that the rear geared wheel is a tensioner. Maybe. It's kind of mesmerizing. Watching it drag the gear around. Yeah, that's certainly something I'm interested in. I've never built an RC vehicle in my life, so I don't know what all parts are needed and exactly how they work. But it's something that, you know, I might consider trying. And maybe I should build something RC that has excellent documentation first so that I learn how the stuff works. I know people that are into it say it's not that complicated. And it's probably not, but when you've never done something, it's more complicated than when you've done it before, you know, so. So first things first is just making a tank that I can turn the treads on. I guess then all I would really have to do is modify the interior of the body of the tank to hold the batteries, the motor, and the drive gear to mate up to the axle somehow. So, possible. Sorry. I stayed up too late last night watching movies. Because I knew I didn't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning because my son doesn't have school. So I stayed up later watching TV. And almost overslept and slept through the stream because I think the last movie I watched got over with about 3 this morning. So there will be a nap before I leave for work at 4 today. For sure. I haven't seen my dog in a while. Yeah, normally the normal routine when my son is in school is I try to go to bed by midnight because the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. I try to get in bed by 10 and try to be asleep by midnight. Yeah, I don't know where my dog is. I guess I'm going to have to go track him down and see what he's doing. But it's getting to be about that time anyway. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out today. We successfully made a drive gear for the tank. I showed you the tank treads that I've got designed so far, and I can start moving forward now with the tank design and get it finished up and get files out there for the patrons to start printing, get beta access to, and as always, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. Sorry, I'm kind of tired and out of it today, and we chatted. We didn't get a lot of actual work done, and we'll see you on Tuesday. I will come up with I'll try to come up with another tutorial, something for us to go over. And there's going to be some changes to the channel in the near future. I think I'm going to keep the live streams and stuff here, but I'm going to heed UDoIt's advice and start a separate channel to put the tutorials on, and we'll keep live streaming and stuff here. And maybe we'll change the name of the channel to, you know, Tanner 3D Live or something. There's my dog. And then make a separate channel for just the quick tutorials and whatnot. So that's coming in the near future. And yeah, appreciate y'all, and sorry I'm kind of out of it today. Later Joe and John Mack and Rover and D and John Trolling for Dollars, Brian Vines, Chris Riley is still here. Thanks for stopping by, buddy, and we'll be in touch. And yeah, anybody else that I might have missed, hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on Mike Whaley's stream tomorrow. Well, I'll pop in there for a little bit. Yeah, something. I don't know, Rover. I'll figure it out. And Mike, Never Let the Machines Win, is here. And thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you all for stopping in. We'll see you next time.